Hi everyone, Chad from Chad's Off-Road. Just here with SKF's new wheel seal kit, which is a really good product and it's well worth a look at. You know, everybody looks at wheel seals and goes, well, that's just a bit boring, but it's one of those sort of things. Have you ever got out on a trail ride or turned up at a race meet, your scrutiny has gone through and given your wheels a bit of a wiggle and one of your wheel bearings is gone? Okay, the beauty with the SKF Wheel Seal Kit is there's two advantages. One is it's got a very low coefficient, like as far as there's no mechanical drag on the wheel seal. So if you put it next to an OEM wheel seal, spin both wheels equally, you'll find the OEM seal wheel will actually stop a lot sooner than what the SKF seal will. The SKF seal will spin for another probably 15 to 20 seconds on top of what the OEM's wheel bearing. So pretty much what you've got is a wheel seal that holds all the grit, water, all the stuff that destroys your wheel bearings is kept out. So you've got the best of both worlds. SKF have seen an issue with the standard wheel seal and they've addressed it. The two parts of this seal kit consist of obviously your spacer and your actual seal. Now what happens is you pull the actual standard wheel spacer out and you replace it with the SKF unit that's supplied in the kit. Okay, then you've got your seal. Now the interesting part about this seal and what SKF have obviously come up with is a way of obviously having a seal that seals almost perfectly but then has very little coefficient drag. So getting back to the same thing is you've got the best of both worlds. So you push the seal in first as per your normal with the grey side out and then your spacer goes in from the outside. The big difference between this wheel seal kit and the OEM wheel seal kit is if you look at the standard wheel seal kit, you've got a rubber seal and then your actual wheel spacer has to actually slide on that collar. So the difference is with this one is the actual collar and the actual sealing surface don't spin on each other. They actually, all the actual spinning is done up in an area up in the top part of the seal that dirt and grit can't get past. But the difference is that because the green section and the grey section are spinning independently of each other, that's what gives you a low coefficient, but it also works as far as keeping the grit out. It's what they in the technical terms calls a labyrinth seal. So, you know, it's effectively what, you know, a lot of hydraulic pumps, like a lot of air tools and all that sort of stuff runs that type of seal or very similar to. And, you know, with SKF being highly involved with Formula One, you know, the wheel seals and stuff that are within the Formula One cars when performance has to be at its optimum, this is the sort of technology that they're running in these sort of vehicles because they want very low coefficient. And ultimately, if you've got wheel seals dragging horsepower out of engines and stuff, which it does when you've got four wheels that have got, like, you know, there's all about keeping the drag to a very minimum. So this is where this type of seal comes into it. The basic bottom line is your bearings are going to last longer for the one simple reason that bearings are like anything mechanical. They hate dirt, grit, water, anything like that. So if you've got that wheel seal kit in, when you're washing your bike, when you're riding through mud, when you're riding through any gritty terrain, you're not getting any contamination into the bearing. You look at how often a lot of people are replacing their wheel bearings and, you know, people who are riding in wet, foul conditions are always replacing wheel bearings for one simple reason. Their OEM wheel seal is letting the contamination into the actual bearing. Even when you've got grease and stuff, the grease is getting affected by the water and the contamination and pretty much just turning into grinding paste. With that, everything's kept out, so your bearings are free to spin in grease, which obviously lubricates and makes things last. I'm a believer in this seal after being, you know, as a racer and as a rider, you know, and as, you know, a mechanic over time. What you do is you see a lot of people have a lot of trouble with wheel bearings. I know myself, with race bikes and stuff like that, the reliability factor has to be there. You look at guys doing multi-day events like Australian Safari, Australian 4-Day, they get a couple of days riding and then they have wheel bearings collapse on them. That's not a cool thing because essentially that could leave you stranded in the middle of nowhere, or it could affect your race results, which nobody wants to have happen, especially with the amount of money that people are spending on their bikes with so much other stuff. Something simple like a wheel bearing going through contamination, you know, that's big dollar stuff, especially if you've travelled any sort of distance to be there. So overall, for the price of this wheel kit, what you're essentially doing is you're safeguarding yourself against failure. There's your SKF Wheel Seal Kit, available at your local bike shop. If your local bike shop haven't got them, tell them to get them from JW to Imports and Distributors.